Hello, beauties. Welcome to Moms Unboxed, a podcast where I unbox with you the how-tos, tips, and tricks to empower women to upgrade relationships, intimacy, and parenting. I'm your host, Melanie Caroline, a multi-dimensional woman, life coach, lover, and mom who's made a lot of fucking mistakes. If you want to live a sensual and liberated life, you've come to the right space. Don't forget to follow Moms Unboxed because you don't want to miss an episode. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Moms Unboxed. How is your summer going? I would love to hear from you at Moms Unboxed Podcast on Instagram. This summer has flown by. Literally, I blinked and it's nearly the end of July. But my summer has been filled with so much joy and happiness, but it's also come with devastation. And even throughout this year, there'd be little nudges of things that I would have to go through in order to heal and expand more. So that's what we're talking about this episode. If you know a mama or woman or whomever out there who wants to hear more about healing and kind of going through that and what healing means, especially when we're going through something devastating. This is a heavier topic, I will have to admit that, but I think it's a topic that needs to be discussed more, especially as some of us are having a difficult summer or even a difficult year like myself, where things will be going really well and then something triggers us or there's something that happens that creates a lot of turmoil and distress in our life. I was at the lake yesterday and I was sitting on this rock and I was doing a lot of contemplation. You know, when a speedboat goes across the lake and you're sitting on the shore and all these tidal waves just start hitting you, right? The water could be so peaceful and then suddenly waves are created. Well, we have to be able to move through the waves. And that's when healing starts to happen. Healing takes time. It takes patience and grace to move through the experience that you are having. And you are not alone in your healing journey. Okay, there are so many of us women and mamas who are going through something, whether it's feeling confident about your body, whether it's something traumatic happened to one of your family members, or, you're nervous that you're going to lose your job. Like, there are so many things within our life that creates distress. And I'm going to be kind of focused more on things that are fairly devastating in this episode, but that does not disclude any other circumstances that you might be going through. So when we go through something devastating, there's a crumbling inside. The scars are opening so that they can re-heal. And you're not going to believe this at first because as we first experience something devastating, we might automatically go to shame, blame, guilt, self-pity, self-hatred. Like, there might be so much that's going on within us that is going to create us to be in absolute shock. And when we're like super in our emotions and we're in shock and we feel numb inside, we just don't know what to do. You might be having some suicidal ideation. You're going to go through this process. And please know, if you are having suicidal ideation, please seek help. I had to put that in there. But you might be having these terrible thoughts, right? And you're going to be able to sit with them while knowing that they're not you, okay? What has happened, what has occurred, you're not to blame. And I know, especially as a mom, when something happens to our child, we take all the blame, all the shame, all the guilt, and it's this giant ball that expands in our chest. And we might feel so much anguish and anxiety and stress where we can't sleep, we can't eat. You're going to go through that process. And as we build in our emotional intelligence, as we build in our ability to heal and embody wisdom, we get to go through this process. And this process is feeling the emotions, labeling them, understanding them. Why is guilt there? Why is shame? Why is anger sitting here in my body? What is it it's trying to teach you? And you can ask, like, I'm feeling you, anger. What is it you're trying to teach me? What is the lesson that you're supposed to be learning here? And speaking to your emotions as if they were you, because they are you. The emotions are coming from within you. And those parts of you need to be witnessed. And a lot of times we might resist our emotions, resist our feelings. We might want to find mind-numbing habits to support us through whatever experience that we are having. But those things are temporary and they're not actually teaching you lessons. You're not embodying any wisdom through relying on those habits. And so when we start to understand this, especially when we start getting a little older, because as we get older, we don't want to process those emotions the same way. I know that when I was younger, I would process my emotions by wallowing in them and just sitting in them. I wasn't trying to extract any lessons. I wasn't talking to any of it. I would just feel the emotions. And I remember I had a boyfriend break up with me in middle school that I really liked. But I remember being in, I think it was 8th grade or 9th grade. He broke up with me and I wrote a letter and I burned his picture of he and I. And that was like the first ritual that I remember myself doing. And it's interesting how when we follow and listen to our intuition as we heal, it guides us to do things that we didn't even know I didn't know what a ritual was. I was just doing what I felt called to do in that moment. So you might feel called to, journal or paint or smash things, scream on a bridge. Like you might be called to do something, and that is your body's way of expressing the emotions, allowing those unwholesome emotions and energy to release from the body. And so pay attention as you heal to your intuition. What is your intuition calling you to do in order for you to heal? Because remember, healing is a process, and it's a process that's different for everyone. And when we go through something devastating, we are going to feel all the feelings. We're going to express them. We might have the intrusive thoughts for 2-3 days. Like, allow yourself the grace and the time to heal. I know as I'm going through something pretty devastating, I'm having a friend say, hey, remember, it's only day 4. It's only day 5. Like, allow yourself time to move through the process without trying to race down this healing path as fast as you can, because that usually doesn't work. So allow yourself to move through it. If you find yourself wallowing, and I hate that word, I'm so sorry. I wish I could sitting in the emotions for too long. Just ask what else is there for you to learn in that moment? And if nothing is coming up for you and you're like, no, you're right. I am not acknowledging the rise and fall of emotion. I'm not noticing when the emotion actually removes itself, and I'm just kind of forcing it to be there. And sometimes we'll find ourselves binge a show. I literally got depressed in April and binged the entire season of Bridgerton. Do you know how many freaking hours that is? I was just in my emotions and numbing out with Netflix and ice cream. And so, when we need to learn these lessons of like, okay, what does it look like for me to heal in a healthy way? What does it look like for me to move through this and hold the space for myself, my family, whoever's involved? Sometimes the universe is going to continue to create circumstances for you to practice healing, practice moving through things. Because each time we do that cycle, we're learning more lessons. We're understanding more about ourselves, and we're cracking open, and we are letting in new light and new wisdom. And in that way, we get more connected with our spiritual selves. There is no timeline, but each attempt to get better is going to help you. Even if it's just getting out of bed for 10 minutes, eating a salad, doing something minimal, 1% effort is going to help your healing process. Something devastating happened to me. I'm like, okay, I've had about 6 days of processing, journaling, crying, doing all the things. Now I need to get back to the gym. I need to move my body, because when we go through something devastating, right, we want to be a hermit. We want to crawl away into our snuggly little sleeping bag and just lay there, hidden, separated from people we love. And that's understandable. We all have our need to be alone. But what if we didn't cancel the events? What if we did go to the gym? What if we did drink the water we're supposed to? What if we're supposed to show up for the meeting instead of canceling? What if we actually went into the woods and went for a walk, or painted, or expressed ourselves in a way that was healthy, along with binging Netflix shows, right? So it's about doing what your body wants you to do. So maybe it is just to sit and grieve, and that's okay. But is there 1% of something you can do that would help you in that day? By helping ourselves through the healing, we expand further. We're able to ask ourselves the self-reflection questions, really go inwards and understand what it is that you are supposed to be learning here, what it is that you can be helping yourself with to be able to expand and hold the space with compassion. What are these parts of me that needs attention, healing? And when we expand, we appreciate the lessons. We think about, how is this going to help me in my life, in my relationships? How have I become more resilient and purposeful through this experience? Have I developed more empathy and sympathy? Have I really taken a look at myself deeply? So you get to decide, what do you want to walk away with during this circumstance? And for me, it's also thinking about, what am I grateful for? I've been thinking about, I'm grateful for the version of myself that is going through this, because I don't believe the version of myself that I was 4 years ago, 5 years ago, would be handling this the same way. I wouldn't be responding. I'd be reacting. I'd be angry. Still, I'm devastated, but I don't know that I could hold the space for my family either if I wasn't this version of me. So think about that. If you're going through something devastating or something really rough, think about the version of you now. What parts of you are you grateful for? Because you're able to go through this right now as the person you are today. That was a huge revelation for me as I'm walking this path of healing. I started to think about all the ways I'm resilient, tenacious, strong. I can hold the space. I know how to heal in a healthy way. And that's coming a long way from the girl that used to harm herself to process her emotions. So think about that too. It's like, how have you grown so that you can handle this, so that you can hold this space for your circumstance, for your family and friends and children and yourself? You get to witness all of you in this way. And that's part of building the emotional intelligence, is you're learning how to process the emotions, to name them, to ask them, what is it they're trying to teach you? The other thing about healing that I wanted to chat with you about is that it's okay to heal and still feel some happiness. It's okay to still laugh or be excited for something, because this is what I was experiencing during my time of devastation. And I felt like I couldn't be happy anymore. I didn't deserve to be happy. I didn't deserve to feel joy. And I literally had so many self-hatred thoughts. And anytime I'd laugh, I'd be like, oh, you shouldn't be laughing right now. Or anytime my partner would give me a compliment, I'd be like, no, you don't, I don't deserve to hear that. I don't deserve to be happy. I don't deserve to feel joy. Well, let me tell you, if you're feeling that way and that is literally what your mind is telling you, please know that that's wrong. It's okay to experience a duality of emotions. It's okay to feel happy and sad. It's okay to feel grief and joy. It's okay for you to experience all the emotions. So please don't feel like you have to box yourself in, that because this devastating thing happened, that you're only allowed to feel a certain way, because that's also how we start living in the emotion, right? We're not just experiencing it, we're living in it because we feel so much guilt about feeling any other emotion, right? Outside of that realm of emotions that you're experiencing from the devastating occurrence that happened. It's okay for you to process everything. You're still a beautiful human being. You are an amazing light. You are strong. You are tenacious. You're resilient. You are a beautiful leader. You just have to remember that for yourself. Right? You have to look within yourself and see that light that you are. We cannot control everything. We cannot control the type of trauma that happens to our family member, a loved one, or a circumstance that may have happened. We are so out of control. But what we can control is the way we process and respond to things, the way we show ourselves self-love, forgiveness, gratitude. Because here's the thing, when you have children, they're seeing you. They're seeing you go through this. And what better would it be to help them by seeing you process your emotions in a healthy way? When I found out what I found out, my kids could see. I was devastated. I literally my daughter told me I look super pale, and I was, and I have a great tan. So your kids are watching you, and we want to be a great example of what it means to have emotional intelligence and process and heal in a healthy way. And like I said, it could be the process itself. That's up to you. That's what you have to pay attention to, your intuition and your spirit and your body, and listen to what it is you want. But be the example for the kids. Tell them, yes, I'm going through something, and mommy's dealing with it by journaling and through painting, meditation, reading, taking baths, and taking care of myself. You get to be the example how you would want your children to heal. And I'm going to say something very important. I just want to make it a point again, because I think it got lost in my ramblings. But we cannot always control the outcome of something. We can control our response. And you may so badly want to break generational trauma. Sometimes that doesn't happen, but what does happen is the way you respond to that trauma or that devastation, the circumstance, that could be breaking the generational cycles of how we process and we move through life. that too needs to be improved across all generations. And it can start with you. If your family grew up dealing with devastating circumstances, difficult situations by yelling and screaming and not getting along, not working together, not showing love, sympathy, and compassion, this could be your time to break that generational trauma. And though we can't prevent generational trauma from happening, we can certainly break the generational trauma of how it's responded to. So when you hold space for someone else, you help facilitate someone else's healing. You can hold the space for them to tell you things that are on their heart. And that's a beautiful way to give of your time, give of your space, and let someone else heal as long as it's healthy for you. Because as moms, we are a community. So if you know a mama out there who is struggling, hold the space for them if you're able to. If you're feeling good, you feel like you have the wherewithal to help someone else, please help that fellow mama. All right, mamas, I hope that you got what you needed from this episode. Currently, right now, we're in the Lion's Gate. Things are aligned for manifestation to happen. No, I'm not talking about manifesting a car or manifesting, the diamond ring that you really want. I'm talking about manifesting the person that you want to be. Do you want to be more resilient? Do you want to be more driven? Do you want to get your schedule more aligned so you can be a better businesswoman? Like what it is you want, you start acting as if you're that person. You start making the change and manifesting in that way and asking for that support. Be of service to others, and that is going to magnetize and magnify your manifestation. Please, please have a beautiful rest of your week. Just know that healing is a journey. Our process is differently, and there's healthy ways to heal. If you are struggling, please reach out for help. And know that it's okay to feel multiple emotions at once. It's okay to feel the emotions, to go through your process, but always think about doing that 1%. What 1% thing can I do to help myself through this day? Whether it's drinking more water, eating a healthy meal, going for a walk, meditating, do something that's going to help you. And then you can move through the process the best that you can. But always think about the fact that you are resilient, you are strong, you're tenacious, you're not to blame. You can't control everything, but you can control the way you respond to things. And that too is breaking generational trauma. All right, mamas, I love you all. I hope that you find exciting things to do this summer. And don't forget to live a liberated, sensual, and unboxed life. And P.S., don't forget to send this to your mommy friend, lady friend, who could use some assistance with understanding, healing, and giving themselves permission to go through the process. Thank you again for joining me for another episode of Moms Unboxed. If you have a topic or relationship question, connect with me at I am Melanie Caroline. And don't forget to follow Moms Unboxed. May you live a liberated, sensual, and unboxed life. I'll be chatting with you next Wednesday for another episode. Until the next time, sunshine.